Hello everyone, welcome back X Machines channel. In this video, we will go through the assembly of the forging press and the forging process in the factories, to better understand the operation of the press forging and hammer forging. Forging is the process of making metal into certain shapes. Methods such as hammering, pressing, and rolling allow people to shape metal into desired forms. Two of the most common metal forging methods include press forging and hammer forging, also known as drop forging. To better understand the operation of press forging, let's take a look at the process of assembling a giant press forging machine. The process of assembling the 16,500-ton forging press is very complicated, because its parts are all huge in size. It requires a lot of support from cranes, lifting machines, and other large assembly equipment. In the press method, mechanical or hydraulic pressure is applied slowly, continuously and in a controlled manner to the metal workpiece. At that time, the slow motion of the ramrod penetrates deeper into the workpiece, so that the workpiece undergoes uniform plastic deformation. Instead of using a series of heavy, repetitive blows, this method relies on a single compression force to shape the metal. The metal undergoes uniform shaping, from its surface to its center during forging, and no tensile angles are used. The forging die can be opened or closed. In open die forging, the die does not completely enclose the workpiece, so the forge operator needs to use more forging techniques to control the metal shape. In the closed die method, also known as impression die forging, the die completely surrounds the workpiece, whereby the metal is precisely shaped into the shape of the die. Forging presses use hydraulic or mechanical forces. The mechanical force is generated by an energy-storing flywheel, which is used to move a rod attached to the crank mechanism. It can generate 12,000 tons of pressure. Hydraulic forging press, unlike mechanical flywheel type, which generates force through the use of high-pressure fluid. Based on this mechanism, large hydraulic press can generate 75,000 tons force. In the hammer method, after the metal workpiece is placed into the die, it receives repeated blows from the hammer. These strikes gradually shape the metal billet to the desired shape of the blacksmith. In hammer forging, the metal surface changes shape, but the center remains relatively untouched. People use draft angles more often with this technique than with press forging. There are two types of hammer forging: open die hammer forging and closed die hammer forging. The main difference between the two is the shape of the dies. Open die hammer forging uses dies that are open, which means they don't entirely confine or constrict the metal. Flat dies are common in open die hammer forging. On the other hand, closed die hammer forging uses dies that completely enclose the workpiece. Following are brief scenes during the production and installation of 17,000 tons hydraulic press forging machine of Doosan, Korea. We can see a few main parts of hydraulic press forging machine, including hydraulic cylinder. The hydraulic cylinder applies unidirectional stroke force. Oil tank. The oil tank stores the hydraulic fluid. Pressing plate. The pressing plate applies pressure to the workpiece. Macrodyne 5,500 ton ring blank hydraulic forging press. Hydraulic presses create their force through hydraulic pressure from a fluid using Pascal's law. A small amount of force is applied to the fluid, which moves a larger amount of fluid to create the force that moves the ram to shape the workpiece. They operate slower than other forging presses and have longer contact with the workpiece. Open dies are the normal type used with hydraulic die forging. The hydraulic forging process is ideal for isothermal forging because of its very slow squeezing speed. Hydraulic forging presses are rated at 50,000 tons with dies that are 12 feet by 32 feet. Dies for hydraulic forging presses take a great deal of abuse due to the increased contact time, which lowers the die's useful life. Contact times vary depending on the amount of required deformation.
Das ist das Maß, was ich eingegeben habe, und das ist das Maß, was die Presse im Moment drückt.
Ja, dann ist er bald da, ne?
Ich habe, glaube ich, schon eine Karte voll.
Mechanical forging presses are driven by a motor and controller that has a clutch and crankshaft capable of applying a constant stroke length to the ram. The speed of the ram is greatest at the center of the stroke, with maximum force achieved at the very bottom of the stroke. Knockout or lift-out pins automatically eject the forging from the die. In the mechanical forging process, a great deal of stress is placed on the dies, with little impact load. Harder dies are used to prevent breakage and damage. The tooling and fabricating of dies for mechanical forging presses is a major expense. Added to the cost of dies is the long time it takes to change dies, which is a slow and tedious process.